Hello and welcome to my garage again. Now it's time to change the coolant. Its changing period is 45,000 kilometers or 4 years. Well, my bike is 4 years old and it's got 45,000 kilometers in it. First, I prepared the tool for making the maintenance. I need a hose clamp, that's important, and a protective coolant. It's G13 ready to use, down till minus 37 Celsius. Well, it's far more than enough. So considering that the capacity of the coolant system is 2.5 liters, I will mix it with half a liter of distilled water. To get a proper access to the radiator cap and the expansion reservoir hose, you need to remove the side panel and its support, and it's also advised to remove the right side conveyor to get access to reservoir cap. The expansion tank is attached to the steering neck. You have to turn the handlebar totally on to the left and you've got access to the cap for refilling. Before you open the radiator cap, it's advised to use the hose clamp to close the hose of the expansion tank, because it's not the usual cap mounted version. The hose is attached to the bottom of the tank, so in a case you open the radiator cap, the whole amount of liquid from the expansion tank will be poured out, so it would be a bad surprise. So let's attach the hose clamp to close the expansion tank. And let's open the radiator cap. It's important because if you leave it closed, there will be a vacuum in the system, so you will not be able to drain it. The draining plug is here at the bottom side, bottom part of the water pump. When I first saw it, I was wondering about why the draining point is here, since this is not the lowest point of the cooling system. Since this hose, the bottom of this hose, that's considered to be a lowest point, is here. So there's a distance. And then, but the user manual and the service manual says that put the bike on the side stand, so it's bent to the left. Now it seems reasonable to be here. Let's see. To remove the plug, you need an Allen key the size of 5 millimeters and a vessel to hold up the coolant that comes out. It's 4 years old, but it's nice and clean. So let it flow. Okay, still not the lowest point. In the meantime, I release the clamp of the expansion tank and let the fluid go through the radiator. It's also advised to check the cap, the spring, the pressuring spring and the vacuum side to move. That's okay. After draining the system, let's refit the plug with the new washer and tighten it to a torque of 15 Newton meters. That's done. To fill up the system, I left the bike on the side stand and I use a funnel with a pipe. There's another way to get clear access to the radiator. Fill it up slowly, because there are quite narrow channels in the radiator, and if you pour it, it would easily lead to overflow. Using a mixed coolant is important because this liquid contains not the cooling material only. Simple distilled water would do it, but it contains an corrosive additive, and it's got a function as lubricating the water pump. When it's filled up, you can see it at the top of the radiator. Let's remove the hose. And apply the cap. Cap is installed. Clean up. However, I could not see any drops. Flow over. I also need to fill up the expansion reservoir, so I remove the cap and use the same funnel and pipe to fill it. The level should be between the minimum and the maximum. Quite tricky because it's dark, relatively dark inside. I use a torch and light the fluid from the bottom so I can see the top line of it, so it's a bit above the middle, closer to the maximum, so it will be okay. After filling it up, I close the tank. Few thoughts about the coolant change. I was able to fill in approximately 2 liters from 2.5, including the expansion tank. The reason is that checking the radiator, you could see that the lower hose is not at the bottom of the radiator. It's a kind of design stuff. I don't know what is the reason behind, but obviously it will leave some old fluid in the radiator. If you'd like to completely change it, there might be some tools for it, special tools for it, I'm not aware of that, or you need to remove the radiator. I was able to fill in approximately 2 liters into the system, including the expansion tank. The reason could be that checking the radiator, you can see that the lower hose is not at the bottom of the radiator but close to the middle section. It means that there are old fluid left in the radiator. This is a design issue, and in a case you would like completely drain the system, either you need special tools or you need to remove the radiator and flush it. I did not do it, and I'm not going to do it. I trust in the Bologna guides, and I trust in the service manual. It will do. As I saw, the old fluid was nice and clean. It's a bit worn out, but mixing it with the new one, it will do for the next 45,000 kilometers. Before you reinstall the fairings and the conveyor, the final step of the coolant change is to start the engine, warm it up, wait until the radiator fan starts. It's approximately 110 degrees Celsius, and it makes the air bubbles from the system go out. After switch off, please do not open the cap, because the system is hot. In a case the expansion tank fluid level is lowered, you can fill it in through the expansion tank.